Now let's move on to discuss the structure of muscle fibers and muscle cells. We'll look at the structure of skeletal muscle, the structure of muscle fibers, and the sarcomere. The organization of skeletal muscle. Skeletal muscles are arranged in bundles of fibers known as fascicles, and the fascicle is wrapped in the perimysium. The perimysium is a connective tissue fiber that groups the muscle into compartments that contain the fascicles. Around the entire skeletal muscle is the epimysium. This is a dense, irregular connective tissue that separates the muscle from surrounding tissue and organs in the body. The endomysium is wrapped around each muscle fiber that supports connections to other fibers and provides support for the capillaries. Muscles are connected to bones or other muscles through tendons, and tendons are formed from the collagen fibers of the perimysium, epimysium, and the endomysium. There are also tendons that form sheets known as aponeurosis. These join muscles to the body parts that those muscles act on. These sheets are present in the ventral abdominal cavity, for example. This image depicts the structure of a muscle fiber. Surrounding the muscle fiber is the sarcolemma. Within the muscle fiber, including organelles such as mitochondria, are the myofibrils. Muscle fibers are formed from the fusion of myoblast cells into multinucleated cells. Individual muscles are made up of a mixture of fiber types. The sarcolemma surrounds the muscle fiber and the cytoplasm known as the sarcoplasm. A network of tubules that extend into the sarcoplasm is known as the transverse tubules or T-tubules. These function to transmit incoming electrical impulses to stimulate and coordinate muscular contraction. A muscle fiber or muscle cell is therefore a multinucleated cell that contains many thick and thin filaments and mitochondria located in the sarcoplasm. Let's look at the myofibrils in more detail. Within the sarcoplasm of the muscle fiber are myofibrils, and these are approximately 1 to 2 micrometers in diameter, and they extend the length of the muscle cell. These myofibrils are made up of thick and thin filaments, which are responsible for the contraction of the muscle fiber. The myofilaments consist of thick and thin filaments which are known as actin and myosin, and the bundles of myofilaments are organized into units known as sarcomeres. Here's a clinical challenge exam question based on what you've learned so far in this tutorial. The muscles of the skeletal system contain muscle fibers made up of myofibrils, organelles, and connective tissue. Which of the following statements about the structure of skeletal muscles is correct? A. The perimysium is a connective tissue that surrounds the entire muscle and separates it from surrounding tissues. B. The tendon that connects muscles to bones is made up from the collagen fibers of the perimysium, epimysium, and the endomysium. C. The T-tubules contain the myoblast cells. D. Myofilaments are made up of intermediate filaments. Or E. The sarcolemma surrounds the individual myofibrils. Here's the answer to the question. This question tests your knowledge of the anatomy and structure of skeletal muscle. The correct answer for this question was B. The tendon that connects muscles to bone is made up from the collagen fibers of the perimysium, epimysium, and endomysium. The functional unit of contraction in skeletal muscle are the sarcomeres. This image depicts a blow-up of a sarcomere. The sarcomere spans from one Z-line to the next, and in the sarcomere are thick and thin filaments, which overlap during contraction. This overlap makes up the A band. A sarcomere is made up of thick and thin filaments that produce the banding patterns known as striations. This arrangement can be seen in the image above, which depicts the overlap that occurs during muscular contraction. The thin filaments are made up of actin, and the thick filaments are made up of myosin. The A band is the darkest of the bands, and it encompasses the thick filament. Within the A band, the lighter region is known as the H zone. Within the H zone, there is a dark line known as the M line, which is the attachment site for the thick filaments. The other band is called the I band. This region is occupied by thin filaments. Within the I band is the Z disc, which is the attachment site for the thin filaments. A sarcomere spans from Z line to Z line. Within the sarcomere are the thick and thin filaments. They are depicted in this image. The thin filament is actin, and the thick filament is myosin, and each of these has associated proteins that function during the sliding contraction mechanism. The thin filaments are 5 to 6 nanometers in diameter and made up of actin molecules, G-actin, and these are formed into strands known as F-actin. The more slender nebulin holds the F-actin molecules together. The binding site for the thick filament is on each G-actin molecule, and there are associated proteins in the thin filament known as troponin and tropomyosin. Tropomyosin blocks the active site, and troponin holds the tropomyosin strand in place. The thick filaments are larger in diameter, between 10 and 12 nanometers, and these are made up of myosin molecules, which are a double myosin strand with a globular head. The myosin heads form cross bridges with the thin filaments. The binding triggers a hinge-like movement by myosin, pulling the thin filament inward. There are different types of skeletal fibers in our body, and an individual muscle can have more than one fiber type. Skeletal muscles and fibers are classified into 3 groups based on things such as diameter, color, and the following 2 factors. Number 1, speed of contraction. Some muscle fibers contract quickly for explosive force. And number 2, the resistance to fatigue. Explosive fibers typically have a low resistance to fatigue. There are 3 types of skeletal muscle fibers. An additional nomenclature for these fibers include slow for slow twitch oxidative, intermediate for fast twitch oxidative, and fast for fast twitch glycolytic. The following is a clinical note on the consequences of extreme exercise: delayed onset muscle soreness. Delayed onset muscle soreness, or DOMS, is a pain and stiffness that's felt between 24 and 74 hours after strenuous exercise or muscle use that's not normally performed. The muscle damage that occurred leads to the release of creatine phosphokinase and myoglobin into the bloodstream. The causes of the pain include the following mechanisms. Number 1, small tears in the damaged muscle tissue. Number 2, muscle spasms in the affected muscles. And number 3, tears in connective tissue and the tendons. The treatment, if required, for delayed onset muscle soreness during the recovery period can include mild pain medication, massage, and heat applied to the area. We'll use the following table to describe the characteristics of the 3 different fiber types. Slow or slow twitch oxidative fibers. These have a small diameter with a longest contraction duration. They are fatigue-resistant fibers. They're mostly used during posture. Their metabolism is oxidative, and their color is a dark red. They are the slowest time to develop tension. Next are the medium or fast twitch oxidative fibers. These are medium diameter fibers with short contraction duration. These are also fatigue-resistant fibers. Their use would be for standing and walking. and they use glycolytic metabolism, but it becomes oxidative. Their color is pink, and they have an intermediate time to develop tension. The third are the fast or fast-twitch glycolytic fibers. These have the largest diameter and a short contraction duration. These fibers fatigue easily. They're used the least for explosive movements such as jumping. Their metabolism is glycolytic. Their color is white, and they have the fastest time to develop tension. Skeletal muscle innervation and blood supply. Skeletal muscles are supplied with innervation from the nervous system and a blood supply to help maintain their high metabolic demands. The heart and its cardiac muscle provide the blood pressure to move blood through the vessels to the muscle. The right side of the heart pumps blood to the lungs for oxygenation, and then the left side of the heart pumps blood into the aorta and out to the blood vessels of the body. The blood vessels that supply a muscle often enter and follow the track of the nerves that innervate that particular muscle. The following is a clinical note on tetanus. Tetanus is a medical condition that's characterized by the prolonged contraction of skeletal muscles. The causative agent for tetanus are the Clostridium tetani bacteria, and the infection from this organism is typically caused by the organism gaining entry through the skin from a cut or puncture. The symptoms include a generalized tetanus that involves facial muscle spasms such as lockjaw, involves swelling, rigidity of the pectoral and calf muscles. The muscle spasms can last for minutes and lead to changes in body shape, such as contortion. These spasms can occur over a period of 1 to 2 months. Unlike other infections, there is no remaining immunity after an individual has recovered from the infection. Supportive treatment can be given to infected individuals, including antibiotics and muscle relaxers. Vaccination is the best preventative measure to reduce the number of tetanus cases.